Hello and welcome to One on One. My name is Fumi Onuajefe, and on this episode, we'll be focusing on primary healthcare in Nigeria. And a particular startup founder has focused her cause to be on healthcare in Nigeria. Her name is none other than Jennie Nwokoye. Stay with us. Hi, Jennie. Thank you so much for
Hi.
joining me. So I was reading your profile. You lived all your life in the US, and then your parents said you should pack up and go in the year 2000 and come back to Nigeria. What was that like for you?
So I was 8 years old.
Okay.
And I only remember the day we were leaving,
Okay.
right? I don't think my parents actually told us that we were going to be in Nigeria for a while.
Oh.
They made it sound like it was going to be like we're just visiting Nigeria, but we were going to come back. So I was like pretty young to actually understand what was happening. But I remember the day I left, I checked out of school. I went straight to the airport. I don't remember being sad. I just remember being like, okay, we're going to Nigeria that we've heard so much about, and let's go. So yeah.
Okay, so I always like to ask this question because what was growing up like? Because I always feel like, was there something peculiar that struck you maybe in your childhood and growing up that made you focus on the career you're currently doing now, which is healthcare? Because I know you started out as an engineer as well. So why healthcare?
Yeah, so for me, when we moved to Nigeria, right, we experienced all kinds of challenges, but the things that were more peculiar to us was accessing healthcare.
Okay.
And it wasn't a function of could we afford it, right? It was just like, how could we find the right specialists? If we needed to get medicines, how could we get them and make sure they were trustworthy? So we had a lot of issues with that care navigation. And so it was just an experience that stayed with me growing up. I had so many situations where like I had a sibling at some point who couldn't get access to care at certain points of time, and it impacted her health. Same with other family members who couldn't access health care on a consistent basis, and then they eventually died because of that. My family, we have a history of diabetes, and we've had some family members lose their lives just because they're not able to access health care to, even to see if it's diabetes that they have, right? And how can they take care of themselves. So it was an experience that stayed with me. I always said that, when I grew up, I wanted to do something very impactful in Nigeria. I didn't exactly know if it was going to be healthcare. I just knew that at some point, I want to do something very impactful when I grow up, retire, whenever that time came. So in the year 2016, I started to visit Nigeria more often 10 years later, and realized that the same challenges that my parents and I had back then either had stayed the same or had gotten worse. So I just decided I became very, very curious, like, what can we do to ensure that people can get access to the basic healthcare, which is primary healthcare, right? And I became very obsessed with that idea that I started doing a lot of research on the topic area. And so that experience is what really informed Clafiya, which means community wellness. And our mission is to ensure that people can get access to primary healthcare regardless of their socioeconomic status.
What language is that, Clafiya?
So Lafiya, I would say it's like, it means, so Lafiya in Hausa means like I'm well, roughly translates to I'm well, or like wellness. And C is for community. So it's a joint,
like a merger.
Exactly, because we want to promote community wellness. We are healthy communities. We believe that like healthcare is very local, and we have to leverage the resources that we have within our communities to access primary health care. And that's essentially how primary health care works. And that's what inspired the name Clafiya.
Okay, so when you moved back, what did you move to? Was it to any of the capital cities, Abuja or Lagos, or to the southeast?
So you mean when I moved back as a child?
Yes.
Yeah, so at some point we were living in Lagos, and I remember like we would go to the east a lot during Christmas. As a matter of fact, one Christmas time, we weren't going to go to the east, which is Anambra State, for the holiday, and we were really, really sad about it. So we basically begged our parents to take us home because it's very festive. And then at some point, my last 2 years in Nigeria, I did spend time living in Anambra and went to secondary school there, and after JS3, came back to the United States.
Okay, so let's talk about launching your startup in Enugu. Why did you choose that location to? Was there like a particular reason, or you just happened to be in Enugu and decided to just start it up there?
Yeah, it was more so opportunity and like timing. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't building for a Lagos market, and it was also where we had a lot of the connections or the relationships that we had um, to to pilot Clafiya, right? So, but most importantly, we just wanted to make sure that we weren't building for a Lagos market. We really want to penetrate Nigeria very deeply. And so in order to do that, we had to understand what life was like outside of Lagos. How do people access healthcare outside of Lagos? In Lagos, it's very concentrated. You have more facilities. You have, a bigger workforce. But once you start to go outside of Nigeria, you realize it's not the same.
Outside of Lagos, yeah.
Yeah, outside of Lagos, you realize it's not the same. And so we really just wanted to understand that, you know, at least for our core capability, which is to provide or access to primary health care and connect our patients to licensed healthcare practitioners, that we can do that outside of Lagos. We can do that in Enugu. We can do that in northern Nigeria. We can do that in south of Nigeria. So that is why we piloted and launched in Enugu.
Okay, so I want to find out, so how does Clafiya work?
Yeah.
So you download an app?
Not yet. But what we do, we have two platforms where our patients can access us. You can either dial our USSD code, which is *347 *58 hash,
Okay.
or you can visit our website at clafiya.com and get access to our web app.
Okay.
On both of those platforms, you can register, and then also if you need access to primary health care, you can schedule an appointment.
Okay.
You are connected with the nearest licensed healthcare practitioner, such as a nurse or community health officer. They come to you in person. We also do provide virtual care, but
Okay.
our bread and butter is that in-person care, because we realize that our patients really want to be seen, and
Okay.
there's a lot of things that you cannot necessarily do by virtual consultation. And our customers really like that. They like that someone came to their home or place of
Yeah.
work to provide
Check
access to primary health care. And while they're there, they're also on a video call with a doctor. So it actually feels like a hospital or a primary health care clinic came to you to provide access to primary care. Finally, after that, we have the continuum of care, and this is where the care navigation comes into play, the same things that I experienced as a child. So let's say like after your consultation, you were prescribed drugs. We have partners with pharmacies who can deliver the drugs to you in person, or you can go pick up the drugs yourself from the pharmacies that you have closest to you. The same with hospitals. If you need access to like specialists as well, we can refer you to specialists. We can refer you to hospitals that we have in our network. The same with diagnostics. We can send someone to your home, your place of work, to pick up a sample. Or if you need more extensive diagnostic testing, then we can send you to one of our partner laboratories to get access to diagnostic testing.
Let's talk about the cost, because it's primary health care and it's supposed to be for middle class, middle income, or low income earners, or who's your target market for this?
So our target market is more middle in class, but then like if you take it a step deeper, it's like informal and informal market.
So what's the cost? The informal market, are they able to afford it? So how much is it, and what has the reception been like?
Yeah, so right now, what we do for our basic primary care service, which is the pay-as-you-go, it starts off at 5,000 naira. So for a flat rate of 5,000 naira, you can request someone to come to your home or your place of work or school, and then they will come to provide primary care services. Our health care practitioners come with a kit, so they can do anything from like a vitals check, provide health education, diabetes screening, hypertension, a rapid diagnostic test for malaria and typhoid, some maternity screening, some STI, STD testing as well. And they can do a suite of testing or just things that pertain to primary care.
Okay, so how far can your experts go? Because even in Lagos, there are some places that we consider like rural area, like Ibejuleki. There are many villages. Even though they're developing now, they're like the outskirts. So do you have like a boundary to say, okay, we don't go beyond here? So even like in the southeast, for example, especially with the current situation going on ground, how do your expert network most of these places? to get to the patients?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I would say that we're not limited to where we can go.
Okay.
Whenever we have patients in a certain community and we have an ability to get there, we'll develop basically a network of healthcare practitioners around the clusters of patients that we serve. And when it comes to safety, we do take that very seriously. And so, in certain areas, like we do advise our health practitioners not to go, and then try to provide other alternatives for them to get access to care. At the very least, we will help them get access to care if our health practitioners don't feel safe to go there, because our health practitioners, they're the heartbeat of Clafiya, right? But we also take their safety into consideration. And so if they're not able to go, we do not force them to go there, right? But we will help our patients get access to care. And that's one of the things our patients actually really love about us, is that we help them. We're basically their guide on their healthcare journey, so that they can focus on other things that matter to them, and they don't have to stress trying to navigate care and access it in a way that's more convenient, stress-free, and affordable.
Okay, so my next question is a two-pronged question. So one is, how does this initiative you've come up with pay the healthcare workers in the end? Because it's fantastic to look at the end users and say, oh, you receive care, but 5,000 naira, for example, would pay a doctor, would pay, so that means you're looking at numbers. How does that work?
Yeah, so we have in-house health practitioners that are on a salary.
Okay.
And then for those that work with us part-time, we pay them a commission for every appointment that they see. And this allows them to also have like an extra source of income outside of work. The health practitioners that work with us part-time are either working at a hospital already or another clinic. And so they use this to, have extra income. Or they could work with us like, on a contract basis, but also full-time, and then also generate income. So we are also, like, with that, providing job opportunities for our healthcare practitioners, the community health officers, the nurses, which are predominantly women. 90% of our workforce, our community of health practitioners, are 90% women. And so we're really excited about providing job opportunities for them. They also get access to training that we provide to them from our partners. Also gives them an ability to upskill as well, because there is a shortage of healthcare practitioners.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. How has the relocation of healthcare, personnel leaving the country impacted on your initiative?
Yeah, so I can't lie, it has impacted us. It does continue to impact us, right? Because our healthcare practitioners are leaving in droves, right? And we can't fault them. They're looking for better opportunities. True. And so what we do is, like, we try to work with entities where our health practitioners are in groups to help recruit them. But also some of the things that we want to explore in the future is how can we even design curriculum for them to get trained quickly. Because we're not training our health practitioners quickly enough for them to join the workforce. Their curriculums are pretty long, and then when you think of like other things that are outside of their control, be it strikes, lack of funding, insecurity, that also like impacts our ability to train health practitioners quickly enough for them to join the workforce. But I would say like that's our role to play, but I would say that there's other things that other players or other like partners can do, which is ensure that our health practitioners have better working conditions and also can get paid well. So we definitely focus on the pay for our health practitioners and ensure that they are equipped with the resources that they have to have an enjoyable work experience. But all these things tie into why our health practitioners are leaving in droves. So if we can create like an enabling environment for them, like I feel as though they would more than willing to stay. We work with the most passionate healthcare practitioners who are very excited about the work that they do. So it's just a shame that they go into the workforce and then they encounter like harsh conditions and are almost like forced to leave to get better opportunities.
Okay, so let's talk about, because when you talk about your startup company, it sounds very nice and easy, but I know that there's a lot of challenges, especially with the Nigerian environment. So what are the challenges you have encountered so far?
Yeah, so you're right. Building a healthcare startup or just a startup in Nigeria is very tough. It's tough for me. It's just tough in general. And I would say like some of the things that make it hard is just not having an enabling environment. So policy, right? Healthcare in Nigeria is very fragmented, and it seems as though it's like a free for all, right? It's like a lot of even the policies that are in place. Are outdated or not implemented or not enforced. And so there's a lot of things happening in our healthcare system that shouldn't happen that way, but because out of necessity, everyone is just trying their best to ensure that they can get some level of healthcare. So that's what I would say is tough. We also talked about like our healthcare practitioners leaving, so that definitely impacts the business or what we do as a healthcare startup. And just personally for me, building a healthcare or just a company in Nigeria is really hard. It's a very lonely journey, not having a lot of like touch points of people you can talk to or like willing to share. But one thing I will say, share their experience, but one thing I would say about like something recently that happened for Clafiya is that we were in the Google for Black Founders Fund. And so through there, we were able to meet like a community of other founders across Africa, right? Not even just in Nigeria, who are also like, they're building either healthcare companies or they're building other like companies as well in different industries or sectors. And it just helps that you have like people who are rooting for you, who you can share ideas, who are also understand the pain point that you're going through. And it makes the experience a lot better when you have a community of founders who are there cheering you on.
Let's talk about funding, raising money for the startup, for setting up the entire thing, paying your staff, and then advice for other female startup founders in Nigeria.
Yeah, so fundraising for a startup is, I would say, is not easy, right? It's almost like a full-time job. And so for us, we have raised funding and we'll be announcing what that is pretty soon. But I would say like, you know, as a female founder, it hasn't been the easiest, right? They always have this stat that goes on every year. You hear it, 1% of women receive access to like VC funds year in, year out, right? And so there are a lot needs to be done to ensure that women can get access to capital because we're building very impactful businesses. Not only are we you know, creating job opportunities, but we're also creating like socioeconomic impact that transcends generation after generation. When people can get access to jobs that pay them well, they're able to provide for their family, they're able to like feed their families, send their children to school, and those are the things that help like promote like socioeconomic prosperity. And so like not even just VC funds, but other kinds of funding as well, like grants. So like it was very helpful for Google to provide this non-dilutive capital, which is like equity-free funding, grant funding for startups, because like otherwise some of us may not have access to that kind of capital, other kinds of capital. And so with that, like, you know, we're able to use it to push some initiatives that we have, either for product development, either for hiring new people. So those are the things that come into play when it comes to like fundraising. But I will say that it's not a walk in the park. And anyone who has raised funding in this kind of market, especially in the economic situation we are in now, I give them a lot of props. Because it's just not easy trying to raise funding, especially as a woman founder, Black founder, who is building an impactful company in Nigeria.
Okay, so advice to startup owners who want to give up or just starting out, just give your word of encouragement based on your experience.
Yeah, so I would say just start, right? And it sounds like very cliche or like, very easy, but most ideas don't come to life because we don't start. I'll use myself as an example, right? I've had quite a bit of other ideas before I actually settled on Clafiya. And even at that, Clafiya is an idea that I'd had, started brewing in my mind since 2016. But I was shackled by corporate America, right? Like, they're paying you very well, you have job security. And so you're often thinking how can you leave this to go and start something that's not guaranteed. So I started conceptualizing Clafiya in my graduate program at Georgetown University. All my coursework focused on Clafiya, like from like conceptualization of the idea to the product development to the marketing, everything was just Clafiya. But I got a lot of support from my professors at school. They encouraged me to pitch Clafiya at some of the pitch competitions at Georgetown. And I pitched, I won some money, and so I was just like, okay, so I can actually do this, right? And just because you start doesn't mean that it will get any easier. Actually, it gets harder. So it gets harder when you get to your next major milestone because the stakes are higher, right? But what I will say is that make sure you just surround yourself with a community of people who are willing to champion you, to be your table pounders, which is like they are actively advocating for you. And you'd be surprised the amount of people who would come, people you know, people you don't know, who will see you and say, hey, I've seen you working on this, you've been working on this for a while. Let me help you, let me connect you to X, Y, and Z. Clafiya cannot be where it is just on my own doing alone. It takes like a village, it took a village of people to like get Clafiya to where it is. Either like, helping me get access to funding, helping me connect me to like other investors, to partners, to hiring people, right? To like ideation and brainstorming. It really took a community of people to help Clafiya to get to this point. But you only get to this point once you start. So that's my advice. And also do not be afraid to ask for help.
Oh, great. That's very essential. Especially, and I like that you gave that last word, because I always find that sometimes women just feel so independent and strong, and they're just like, oh, I can take it on without reaching out to ask for help. Okay, thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for staying with us on this episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversations and took some learnings from this episode of One on One. I know I did. See you again soon. My name is Fumi Onwanjefe.